Hi, and welcome to another podcast where we delve into the lesser known realms of Norse mythology, unearthing ancient wisdom and examining the mysteries that lie beyond the tales of the Aesir and the Vanir. Today we explore a cryptic term that has left scholars and mythologists puzzled for centuries: the Ginnregin. What made me make this podcast? Some time ago, one of my sons asked me the simple but intriguing question: Dad, do the gods have gods? So I looked into that. It fascinated me. So here's my take on that. So, the Ginnregin, who or what are they? They are only mentioned a few times across the Norse sources we have today, and the references are indirect and veiled. While they are never fully described, they seem to be mighty, holy beings, often tied to the cosmic forces of creation itself. The Ginnregin are not directly part of the familiar Aesir or Vanir gods like Odin, Thor, or Freya, who live, battle, and shape the human world. Instead, the Ginnregin represent an even older, more fundamental power, possibly ancient beings beyond the conventional pantheon of Norse gods. Let's dig into what we know, what the texts say, and why these references make the Ginnregin unique in Norse cosmology, and why it might make the Ginnregin the gods of the gods. Alright, let's talk about the mysterious origin. When we look at the meaning of the word itself, Ginnregin roughly translates to mighty powers or holy ones, with Ginn often indicating something vast, mysterious, or divine. In fact, this prefix appears in other significant terms, such as Ginnungagap, the great void, the yawning void that existed before creation. Some scholars believe that this shared prefix might indicate that the Ginnregin were linked to the very fabric of the cosmos, foundational forces that predate the realms we know and the gods who govern them. The Ginnregin are described only in scattered fragments, but those references appear significant, implying beings who belong to a primeval cosmic order rather than the earthly or human-centered world of the Aesir and the Vanir. The connection to Ginnungagap suggests that these entities could be associated with the churning void and the process of creation itself. So, let's look at the key passages where these Ginnregin make their enigmatic appearance. We'll go through these references and explore why they point to an existence outside the familiar gods. In Havamal, one of the poems in the Poetic Edda, Odin speaks of how he gained his knowledge of the runes through a great personal sacrifice. In one verse he says, "There I carved my runes for the mighty powers, and the words rose high as the wind, carving to aid in my own strength." Odin here uses the phrase carving for the Ginnregin. This references places the Ginnregin as beings beyond Odin himself, an unusual perspective as he is often considered one of the highest gods. If he is carving runes for the Ginnregin, it implies a reverence toward a greater or more ancient power that even he acknowledges. Why aren't they the Aesir or Vanir here? Well, because Odin, the leader of the Aesir, would hardly need to invoke or carve for his own kin in this manner. Instead, it suggests that these powers represent a foundational wisdom he must honor, something primordial, something greater than the gods of Asgard. Let's look at Voluspa, the prophecy of the seeress, a poem in the Poetic Edda that recounts the creation of the world and foretells its eventual destruction at Ragnarok. In stanza 6, the seeress describes the gods gathering in council to determine the fate of the world. It says, "Then the powers all gathered on their thrones of fate, holy gods, and held council. Here, The phrase in Old Norse, Ginnhelok God, or Holy Mighty Gods, is used, suggesting that this council consists of powers older and more profound than the Aesir and the Vanir alone. The Ginnhelok God appear almost as overseers or ancient judges of cosmic order. Some scholars suggest that these may indeed be the Ginnregin, the primordial forces overseeing the creation and progression of the cosmos, not the individual gods we're familiar with from the mythological stories. This moment of council in Voluspa happens at a critical juncture, the beginning of the world itself, indicating that these powers are part of a creative process that even the Aesir and Vanir are subject to. In this way, the Ginnregin stand apart as beings beyond the gods of Asgard and Vanaheim, suggesting a role as primordial architects or ancient judges of fate. Further along in Voluspa, the gods come together once more to discuss who will create the dwarves, creatures born from the primal materials of blood and bone. Again, it's the powers who assemble, specifically to decide the role of the dwarves within creation. It says, "Then all the powers went to their thrones of fate, holy gods, and held council. Who should create the dwarves out of Brimir's blood and Blaine's limbs?" Once more we see the term Ginnhelok God, the mighty holy gods. In this scene they aren't simply creating dwarves, but deciding on the existence of sentient beings within the 9 realms. The assembly of the Ginnhelok God implies a responsibility over creation that's much deeper than the day-to-day involvement of the Aesir and Vanir. By representing these ancient powers as overseers of the dwarves' creation, this scene underscores that they are not part of the Aesir or Vanir pantheon. They are cosmic forces, separate from the familiar figures as we know today. Finally, let's consider Ginnungagap, the primordial void that existed before the world itself. The root Gin in Ginnungagap connects it to the Ginnregin, hinting that they are beings who, like the void itself, represent a state before order, before the shaping of the 9 realms. This association suggests that the Ginnregin embody the raw, ancient power from which the cosmos emerged, forces that even the gods must respect and acknowledge. In all these references, the Ginnregin emerge not as mere deities with personalities, but as vast, holy powers woven into the cosmos. They are the forces of creation, the primordial judges of fate, and the overseers of cosmic order. While the Aesir and the Vanir gods rule the realms and guide humanity, the Ginnregin are the backbone of existence itself, mysterious, ancient, and revered even by the highest gods. So when you think of them, the Ginnregin, think of them as the echoes of creation, the powerful beings who transcend the stories we know and whose influence permeates all of Norse mythology. They remind us that beyond every god and every myth lies a mystery, a primordial force that cannot be fully understood, only honored and respected. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the void, where we've tried to capture the echoes of these mysterious high beings, the Ginnregin. If you enjoyed the podcast, then please subscribe. You can find me on Instagram. My handle is at @ravenskull_be. That is at ravenskull, one word, _be. Thank you for joining. And may the gods be with you. Bye for now.